university, or maybe you've just seen our job posting somewhere, it is fantastic to hear that you are thinking about potentially looking at a career with enterprise mobility. So, my name is Louise Taylor, and I am a talent acquisition marketing specialist for the northeast of England. And I started on the graduate programme, oh gosh, just over 6 years ago now, in 2019. Worked my way up in management and then eventually sidestepped across to be in this department where we are now. I am also going to be joined today by one of our interns who will hopefully be joining us shortly. I think she is just running a little bit late, so we'll get her to pop a little message in the chat when she's here so we can introduce her. But thank you all so much for joining us. And I'm going to get started by telling you a little bit more about who we are and what we do, and potentially what it is that you're going to be signing yourself up for. So, for those of you that don't know, enterprise mobility is one of the world's largest transport industries. Now, in FY24, so fiscal year 24, we turned over $38 billion in annual revenue, which is just a crazy figure. We've got over 90k wonderful global team members across 90 countries and territories, and we have 2.4 million global fleet size. So that is actually one of the largest, or I think the largest privately owned fleet in the world, with over 300 makes and models. So that is everything from your tiny Toyota Aygo 3 doors, which was my first ever car back when I was 17, all the way up to our refrigerated lorries, our premium vehicles, our Nissan Qashqais, whatever you can think of, we have it at Enterprise Mobility. But we do a lot more than just car rental. People think, oh gosh, car rental sounds so boring. I promise you it is not. If you told me when I was 18 years old that this is what I would do for my career, working for a car rental company, I would think, gosh, that doesn't sound very exciting. But I can totally dispel that because it is a fantastic place to work. And as I've said, we do a lot more than car rental. These are just some of our brands on the screen here. You know, we go by the brand Enterprise Mobility, but we have a lot of sub-brands within that. So, for example, you may have seen Enterprise National or Alamo when you have been at our airport, train station, or even just our town or city centre locations. That is the side of the business that most people are aware of. And we have three major kinds of business lines as part of that. So we've got private rentals. That may be that you have rented a vehicle whilst you have been on holiday. You might be renting a van because you're moving house. Or it might just be that you have a little Toyota Aygo and you've got your granny coming and you can't get her in a 3 door. You've got to stick her in the back. So it might be that you want to rent something a little bit bigger. But essentially, wherever it is that you are going to be paying privately for that, we do that at Enterprise National and Alamo. We also have a lot of contracts with insurance companies. So if you are unfortunate enough to have an accident, Enterprise will likely be one of the companies that will provide you with your courtesy vehicle. And we also work alongside body shops and dealerships as well. So if your car goes in for an MOT service or a repair, you will likely get an Enterprise vehicle as well. We also have some really exciting parts of our business, like Enterprise Flexi Rent. So that is 3 to 5 year business leasing, so slightly longer term than your usual car rental. And we do a lot of really exciting things for that. We do our big refrigerated lorries, we do specialized vehicles. If you're ever lucky enough to be stuck at some traffic lights and some road works, it'll likely be some Enterprise Mobility vehicles that are working on the side of the road. So we do a lot of specialized things there. And for anybody that is interested in cars, specifically fast cars, premium vehicles, we've got our Enterprise Exotics range, and that is London and Manchester based. And they are your Lamborghinis, your Bugattis, your Porsches, those cars that I would never trust myself to drive and would probably never be able to afford, but a very exciting place to work nonetheless. So that is just some of the brands that we have at Enterprise, but I really would urge you to go and do a little bit of research to see, you know, the different business lines that we have out there. But predominantly, the one that we hire into is that Enterprise Rent-A-Car brand, which you can see on the top left there. And that is where our graduate management program and our 1 year management placement sits. So we do have 8 founding values at Enterprise, and these are upheld throughout every single stage of your career with Enterprise Mobility. It's one of the first things that you're taught when you walk through the door. It doesn't matter who you speak to at Enterprise, but everybody knows what these 8 founding values are. Although don't test me on them right now, it's a bit rusty on the 8 founding values, but I do know for a fact that everyone at Enterprise does uphold these. But just some of the ones that I wanted to focus on. One of them is we strengthen our communities one neighbourhood at a time, and that is something that is really important to me and to a lot of our colleagues at Enterprise Mobility. We're actually given a paid day off a year. It's called My Purpose, My Time Day. And that is a day that you are paid to take off work, the same as any other holiday day, but you must spend it doing some form of volunteering or charity work in your local community. So I actually used mine last year to do a sponsored 25-mile hike for one of my very good friends that's suffering from Lyme disease. And we raised over £800 for her. And not only did I get support from the company for that, but I also got a paid day off to do that. So I might have been in absolute agony, but at least I raised some money for a fantastic cause and had the backing of my company to do that as well. And we will be talking a lot about these founding values throughout this presentation, and you'll see that they kind of link into everything that we do. But definitely strengthening our communities is something that we are very proud of at Enterprise. And speaking about our communities, one thing that we are very passionate about is investing in our future. And we donate a lot of money every single year to a lot of different initiatives across the world. So I could do a whole hour's presentation just on the sustainability and the community things that we do with regards to this, but just a couple that I want to focus on. We've got the Enterprise Fill Your Tank. So that is a commitment of $115 million over 10 years. And we've partnered with the likes of Feeding America, the Global Food Banking Network. And the impact of that is that 26.9 million meals have been served to over 654,000 seniors in local communities. So an incredible impact. And probably one of the most well-known initiatives that we do have is the Enterprise 50 Million Tree Pledge. So that is where we have pledged to plant 50 million trees across the next 50 years. And as of 2022, we'd already actually planted 17 million. So well on our way to planting those 50 million over the next 50 years. And something that we are extremely proud of is our commitment to diversity and inclusion. So we know that everyone brings something different to the table at Enterprise. We cannot attract a diverse customer range if we don't have a diverse employee range. And that is something that we are extremely committed to at Enterprise. You'll see on the screen here that we have won quite a few awards. We were the winner of the Grad Island Diversity Awards. We've been a top 50 employer for gender equality multiple years in a row, and we're also a disability confident leader as well. For anyone that isn't aware, you do need a full UK driver's license in order to work for Enterprise. As we are a car rental company, there is some driving involved. However, if you are exempt for that because of medical or physical disability, you absolutely can still apply for Enterprise. We will put those adjustments in place. And regardless of what adjustments it is that you need, we will make sure to put those in place throughout the recruitment process and ultimately if you are hired as well. So if anyone is thinking about applying for us, please do make sure that if you feel comfortable to do so, that you disclose that to your interviewer or on your application form, because we absolutely want to make sure that you are all given the same opportunities. Just before I can continue on, I can see that we've got the chat there. Thanks, Sam, for sort of managing the chat for me. We've got people from all over, London, Edinburgh, Leeds, and Darlington, so not too far from Leeds. We've got Derby, Basingstoke. I'm not even going to pretend I know where that is, Francis. I'm so sorry. I'm not very good with geography. We've got Colchester. I do know where that is. A lot from London, Leicester, Edinburgh, Exeter. And someone from Thailand, which might actually be the furthest away I've ever seen someone join a prospect session. So thank you so much for joining. And it would also be great in the chat. Oh, Cardiff as well. It's not quite Thailand, I'm sorry, but exciting nonetheless. But it would be great if you could pop in the chat box as well, the potentially the position that you're looking at applying for as well. You know, are you looking at doing a placement if you're doing a sandwich year? Or are you looking at doing a graduate role, you know, when you finish your studies? It would be great to know kind of what you're all looking at. And on the topic of the roles that we have, last year over 22,000 of our team members across various positions were promoted or took on new challenges. One of the most exciting things, and I would say probably our most unique selling point at Enterprise, is the fact that we only promote from within. So we are one of the only companies that solely does this, aside from some very specialised roles like our legal team. But for the most part, I believe it's over 90% of our workforce is employed from within. So that means that everyone has to start as either a one-year placement student or as a graduate when they finish university and work their way up the career ladder. So as I said at the very start of this presentation, I started as a grad. And that is where I started, same as a lot of other people. We have a fantastic placement program. I've actually been voted Rate My Placement first student graduate employer, so first place, sorry, best student employer for 2 years in a row now, meaning we have the UK's best placement program. And we are also the Graduate Employer of the Year award last year for Target Jobs, meaning that out of every single graduate scheme in the UK, Enterprise was voted #1 for that as well. So regardless of whether you're thinking about joining us for your placement or the graduate scheme, just know that everyone is promoted from within. You start at the bottom and you work your way up. That is how it works at Enterprise. So I think Neva's having some technical difficulties. She can't join on. So normally I'll pass over to her to talk about this section, but I am going to just start and then hopefully she's able to join us. But as I've said, I have done the graduate programme, albeit many years ago, so I can absolutely still shed some light on this. But I wanted to talk through a little bit about what that management trainee programme was. I've already said that that is where you have to start in the business, is from the ground and work your way up. And regardless of whether you are doing a one-year placement or whether you are doing the graduate programme, they're actually the exact same role. So you learn the same things, you do the same job. The only difference is that one of them is done within a year period, with your year in industry before you go back to return to your studies in your final year at uni, and one of them is a full-time permanent position. So all of our management training programs are within our operations side of the business, so the rental car. So you'll be working within those Enterprise rent car branches that you may have seen in your city centre or town locations. And one of the best things about our management trainee program is that we give you a really broad business understanding. So I actually did psychology at university. I do not have a business background whatsoever. But one of the reasons why I picked Enterprise Mobility for my grad scheme is because I didn't have a clue what it was that I wanted to do. I just knew that I wanted to do a little bit of everything and then kind of decide what it was I wanted to do further down the line. And that is one of the best things about our grad scheme, is that it gives you that opportunity to be exposed to the likes of service, sales, marketing, HR, accounts and finance. Whilst it's not physically rotational, you are not spending physically 3 months in one department and then 3 months in another and 3 months in another. You do all of your training and development whilst working in your branch, in the location that it is that you have chose to work in. But through the training folder, you learn about all these elements of what it makes to run the business. So the best thing about us is we give you that broad business understanding. The second thing is we really help you to develop some professional skills. And I'm going to skip past this one because we do actually have a slide dedicated to developing professional skills. But that is definitely a big pro. We are not expecting you to be the full polished package when you apply for Enterprise Mobility. We know that you are students, you are graduates, you are interns. So we can absolutely help you to develop those professional skills, but we do expect you to have some basic competencies, which I will run through in a moment. Regardless of whether you choose to do the one-year placement or the graduate program with us, we will help you to grow those relationships. So we give you so many opportunities to network with people, not just in your region, in your area, but UK-wide as well. We give you opportunity to network with department leaders in a variety of different departments, whether that be HR, risk, talent acquisition, recruitment. We give you those opportunities to network and get your name out there for any future potential career opportunities. And we do have a fantastic support system at Enterprise. So as I've mentioned throughout, we only promote from within. So it means that no matter who you meet at the company, they will have started on the graduate scheme or the placement scheme the exact same as you. So there is a real understanding and empathy surrounding our roles, because no matter who you meet, they have walked the exact same path as you. And on top of that, we have a fantastic support system in that we have a formal mentoring program as well. So this is optional. You don't have to have a mentor, but I think most people do opt onto this program because it is a fantastic opportunity. But you are essentially matched with a senior leader in the business. They may be in the rental side, the operations side of the business, or they may be in a different department. And they're there just to help support you alongside the rest of the team that you work with as well, which will be your area manager, your branch manager, assistant branch manager, and the trainees and interns within that branch as well. I'm actually a mentor to four wonderful girls who have all expressed an interest in working in marketing. So they picked me as their mentor. I'm not sure if they're still happy about that decision. I very much hope that they are. But I'm just there to take them out for lunch, help them with any interview prep, chat with them about anything that maybe they don't want to speak to their branch manager or assistant branch manager about. And that is something that is really fantastic about Enterprise is our support for each other. And finally, get rewarded. We have a fantastic salary package at Enterprise. We've got a starting salary of £30,000 for the graduate programme, and that is not including bonuses as well. So you absolutely have the opportunity to earn additional bonuses whilst on the programme for things like your sales performance, your service performance, your marketing performance. It doesn't matter where your skill set lies, you will have the opportunity to earn additional money. So, for example, when I was in the rental side of the business, I was not very good at sales. I just couldn't get to grips with it. I'm too much of a pushover. I could never, as someone say no to me, try and push them to do that. So I very rarely got the bonuses for sales. But one thing that I was fantastic at was customer service. My mum says I've got the gift of the gabber, as I'm sure you will all agree on this call. But I was able to chat to anybody, I was able to make them feel welcome, and give them a great experience. So I would always get those customer service bonuses, which was a great way for me to sort of up my pay packet every month as well. So you've got lots of opportunities for you to get rewarded as well along the way. And this graphic is what I was talking about with regards to our career progression. So as you can see at the bottom there, everyone starts as either a management intern or a management trainee, either on the 1-year placement or that full-time permanent graduate role. Our graduate scheme only roughly takes around 10 to 12 months to complete. So uniquely, we actually give all of our 1-year placement students the opportunity to complete that graduate scheme whilst you're actually on your placement with us. What that then means is you can then hopefully rejoin us full time when you graduate already at that management assistant level, as you can see on the next step. But if you do the graduate programme, you would automatically be promoted to that regardless when you complete that management qualification, or as we call it, the MQI. Once you've completed that MQI, it basically means that you're just eligible for promotion. So you can then go for assistant branch manager roles. So you would likely be an assistant branch manager for around 1 year to 2 years before you go for a branch manager role. And then if you love that management side, that customer service, that sales element of the business, there is nothing stopping you from working all the way up that career ladder to vice president, general manager if you want. Or if, like me, you find that you've got a skill set in a completely different area of the company and you want to sidestep out, it might be that you love numbers and data. Maybe you want to go and work in our accounts and finance team. It might be that you're really passionate about people and you want to work in HR or talent acquisition, like myself. Or it may be that you are really passionate for sales and you want to go into B2B sales or consumer sales. But once you complete your management qualification, that is when you have the opportunity to sidestep out into those roles where they are available. We have an internal careers portal where essentially you can browse the jobs that are available within your local area or UK or global, and have a little look and see what's out there and apply. So it looks like Neve is not going to be joining us, which is a real shame, that she's having some technical issues. So I'm going to continue on. I can see lots of really great questions coming in the chat. Please do make sure to pop all of your questions in there, and I will try my best to get through as many as I possibly can at the end as well. But before we go into a Q&A, I did promise you a skills slide. So this is very much the skills that we will help you to develop at Enterprise, but a bit of a spoiler alert, it's also some of the competencies that we assess against in our recruitment process as well. So I'll touch on that a little bit. There's lots of different skills that we assess against at Enterprise and a lot of skills that we will help you to develop. So although we will expect you to have a certain baseline of experience and a skill set, we'll absolutely help you to develop those throughout your graduate scheme or placement as well. The first one that is an absolute non-negotiable is communication. We are dealing with the general public, and we are dealing with a very wide demographic of people. And not only that, but we're dealing with a lot of different external stakeholders. So our body shop and dealership service managers, we deal with a lot of corporate accounts that have corporate accounts with us. So we are dealing with CEOs, business partners. So one of the most important things is your ability to be able to communicate with others, and not only just our stakeholders and customers as well, but also each other within the branches too. One thing that we do need is some form of experience in customer service. Ideally, you would have at least 6 months of face-to-face customer service experience to be able to apply for us. So that will look like something like working in a bar, waitressing, retail. That is all the experience that I had before joining Enterprise. We would expect you to have some form of customer service experience to apply and be eligible for our graduate programme and our one-year management programme. However, as I've said, we don't expect you to be the full polished package, so we'll absolutely help you to develop those customer service skills along the line as well. Some more general soft skills that we help you to develop, but also that we will expect you to demonstrate throughout the recruitment process as well, are things like time management, problem solving, and adaptability. Number 6 there, marketing and sales. We wouldn't expect you to have any marketing and sales experience. However, if you do have some form of sales experience, that will be really beneficial through the interview process as well. So if you've ever upsold things, I still remember to this day the example that I used in my interview 7 years ago now. I was talking about how we had to upsell the stale croissants with the coffees on a morning, the ones that were left over from the day before. You could get a croissant for 50p. In the cafe that I worked in. So I use that as my example of upselling because it is sales. So if you've ever had any experience on things like that, that'd be fantastic. One of the things that we look at, but also that we help you to develop, is leadership. So we are a progressional promotional program, as you are now aware. We only promote from within. Everyone starts at the bottom and works their way up. So we would expect you to demonstrate some form of leadership, and we would also help you to develop that throughout the grad program as well. We want to see you succeed. We want to see you move upwards within the company. So leadership is something that is very important to us. And finally, maybe kind of uniquely to us, is emotional intelligence. And this is something that we will very much help you to develop when you have more interaction with customers. Sometimes the customers that we deal with have been in very challenging situations. They've maybe had a very bad accident. They've maybe been stuck at the side of the road waiting for the AA to come and recover them. Or it may just be as simple as you have an elderly gentleman who is getting into a brand new Vauxhall Corsa with an electric handbrake, and all they've ever driven is their 56 reg Hyundai i10 with a manual handbrake. It doesn't matter what situation they have been in. It could be that they are very stressed, so it's very important that we do help you to develop that emotional intelligence skill, and that is really invaluable at Enterprise. Thank you so much for the questions coming through. And just on the topic of skills as well, I can see my lovely colleague Sam has popped our competencies that we assess against in the recruitment period in the chat box there as well. So if anyone is thinking about applying for us, do make sure to join that link and have a little read through, because it is a little bit of insider info into what we assess against in that recruitment process as well. And on the topic of the recruitment process, we have a really streamlined application process at Enterprise Mobility. I don't know about anyone on the call, but I know that when I was a grad, I applied for so many different roles. I had to do assessment centres, I had to do psychometric testing, I had to do written and numerical testing, and I'm not very good with numbers, so I would always fail there. But we don't have that at Enterprise. We have a very streamlined process. So first things first is an online application form. So I'm sure if she hasn't already, Sam will pop a link in the chat to our careers website. We can search for your location and apply online. We don't even take CVs at Enterprise. It is literally just that online application. So please do follow that link to apply online if you are interested. Now, providing that you meet our eligibility criteria, so I've already said it, you must have a full UK driver's license unless exempt from medical disability. The reason for this is because our insurance company states that we must have a full UK license to drive our vehicles, and some of our vehicles are automatic and some of them manual. So that is why you have to have a full UK license. And as I mentioned, you also need at least 6 months customer service experience as well. So if you have that, you will be invited to the virtual interview. Now, that is a 30 to 45-minute Microsoft Teams interview with a real life recruiter, a real person. It is not AI, it is not pre-recorded, it is a real life person. And if you pass that virtual interview, you'll then be invited to the final stage of the interview process, which is a branch visit. So this is a really unique opportunity where you can actually go into a branch for a couple of hours in the location that it is that you've applied for. So let's say you've applied for the Leeds area, you would go into a branch in the Leeds area. And this is an opportunity for not only us to assess you to see what we think you'll be like in that environment, but it's also a chance for you to assess us and see whether or not we are a good fit for you. It's very difficult if you are going into your first full-time professional career, as I'm sure most of you are, to kind of envisage what that would look like. So that branch visit is a great opportunity for you to do that. That visit is then finished off with an in-person interview with the area manager of that region. And that is it. We don't do any assessment centres, we don't do any psychometric testing, we don't do any of the dreaded written and numerical testing, as I said, that I always used to fail. That is it. It is literally the online application form, the virtual interview, and the branch visit. So a really streamlined and accessible process for everyone. And I can see that Sam has popped those links for the UK and Ireland career pages in there as well. And of course, we do have some other more specialised roles that you can potentially go into. If you don't have a driver's license, we do have some home working roles, some customer service roles at our customer service centre. So please do have a little look online and you can filter that to remote working or home working. And you can absolutely have a little look at those more specialised careers online as well if you don't have that full UK licence. And the last thing I just want to plug just before we go to questions is our Instagram. Now, we have recently relaunched our Instagram. It has some fantastic content on there. We've got loads of reels about how to succeed at interviews, why mentoring is important, what a CV should look like. So do have a little look on there. I'm sure Sam will pop the link in the chat if she hasn't already. But enterprisemobility.careers.uk. We're trying to be viral. We're trying to get as many followers as we possibly can. So regardless of whether you're interested in enterprise mobility or not as your future career after listening to this, it is still a fantastic page to follow because it does have all of that great advice on there about job applications in general. So please do make sure to go and follow us on there for some more info. I know that Sam has popped my LinkedIn in the chat, so thank you, Sam, for that. But I have popped my email on screen there as well. So if anyone doesn't get their question answered today, or if someone wants to ask me something privately, please do drop me a message on there, or you are more than welcome to DM me on LinkedIn as well, and I'll get back to you as soon as I possibly can. So I hope no one minds that I've just spoke at you for the last half an hour. It was meant to be broken up slightly with Neve joining, but unfortunately, as I said, she was not able to join us. So I hope that I've explained everything well enough. But I'm just going to stop sharing now. And I know that we've got quite a few questions that have come through. So if everyone just gives me a second, I'm just going to get my Q&A and my chat box up. So I know that there was a couple of questions about driver's license. Hopefully that I've explained that well just before there. But just to reiterate for anyone that maybe didn't hear, you must have a full UK driver's license to work for us unless exempt from medical disability. However, we do have a couple of roles available that don't require a driver's license. So please head over to the UK or Ireland careers page, depending on where you are, to have a little look for those. In terms of requirements for the grad role, I can see one here. We've been through this, but we have the full UK driver's license and 6 months of customer service experience minimum. You must have that for the graduate scheme or the 1-year placement. We've got, sorry, I'm just making my way through these questions because we've got so many. I just want to make sure that there's none that have been repeated. Okay, here's a great question here. So about marketing roles. So for some reason, you've never seen any marketing roles being advertised. So as I've said, we have the ethos at Enterprise where we only promote from within. So the majority of our staff start ground level as a graduate management trainee and then work their way up. So we don't normally recruit for specialised internal roles unless there may be slightly high level positions that we're trying to fill externally. But for grad entry level roles, you must start as a graduate trainee and then work your way into those roles in marketing or whatever department that it is that you're looking for. I know that there's a few questions there about looking at things in sort of accounts and finance. That is very similar. You would have to start on the graduate scheme and then work your way up for that as well. So I've got one here that is someone is a business and data analytics postgrad student. What career should I focus on at enterprise and sales management or finance? The graduate program would be fantastic for you because it is a sales and management position. So please do follow the link that Sam has popped in the chat box for the UK and or Ireland, depending on where you are, to have a little look at those graduate schemes. I can see there are a few questions regarding sort of starting dates for the graduate scheme. So for the most part, for our grad program, we recruit all year round in every location. Sometimes we do have some regions that are full temporarily, so we may temporarily pause those regions. But for the most part, all of our locations across the UK recruit all year round. There is no end date to our recruitment process. Excuse me. And we will work with you to decide on a start date that works best for you, that we can also accommodate to in the business as well. Our 1 year placement is slightly different. If anyone is looking for a 1 year placement, we do still have a couple of placement roles available for this summer starting. So again, have a little look on the website and filter it by placement to see which ones are available. But just be aware that they are for normally undergraduate students who are doing a 1 year placement as opposed to sort of a short-term part-time placement. And they normally, so if you're looking for a placement for next year, they will go live on the website around about November time, and they're normally full up around April, May. Let me have a little look through these questions. So we've answered that one about the start date. So here's a great one about the branch visit as well. So is the branch visit going to be a one-to-one interview or is it getting to know about the company? So just to reiterate about that one, that is going to be a couple of hours that you spend in the branch with the wider team. So you will buddy up with someone in the branch, likely the most, the newest member of the team, and you can shadow them, see what it's like when they talk to customers, see what kind of work they do on a day-to-day basis. You'll spend time with the whole team, and then you'll have that one-to-one interview with the area manager at the end. So it's a little bit of both. It's a lot about getting to know the company. It's a great opportunity for you to see what it is that we do, but also you will have that one-on-one time with every individual staff member, hopefully, and also with the area manager at the end as well. Some questions about visa and sponsorship. We do offer visa and sponsorship. However, depending on what visa it is that you have, sometimes we don't meet the salary requirements. I believe off the top of my head, it's either that you need a 36,000 or a 38,000 starting salary for some grad visas. With our starting salary being 30,000, we quite often don't meet that criteria for you, but it is a case-by-case basis. So if you do want any more information for that, please do drop me an email or a DM and I'll absolutely pass that over to our recruitment team to see if they can help you any further with that. For the graduate role, do we apply straight after graduating or within the 3rd year of university? We can absolutely do your interview and hold your position until you're successful. So when I actually applied for Enterprise, I did my interview in January 2019, was successful, and they held my position for me until I was ready to start in August 2019. So we absolutely do that. As long as it is within sort of a 10-month period, we don't mind. But if you are due to finish your studies this September, I would think about applying now so you can start hopefully by the end of the year. If you're looking at starting next year, I'd maybe start looking around autumn time and applying, but you can absolutely still register your interest and, find out more about the company now. But absolutely, you can definitely be looking for roles with us now if you are looking to start with us in the near future. Question there about can you apply if you're in your second year? Maybe slightly too early to apply for the graduate program in your second year, but it's great to see that you are so interested. Unless you're doing a placement, if you're doing a placement in between your second and third year, absolutely, you can apply for that for next year when they come out in November. But if you're looking for the graduate program, as great it is that you are so interested, it is maybe slightly too early. And we've got a couple of messages there about what degree people do. We take from any degree background at Enterprise. Like I said, I'm a psychology grad. You do not have to have any specific business experience. It is obviously great if you do have that. It might help you a little bit in the interview process. But don't worry about the specific degree it is that you have. We do take from any degree background. I think I've got through most of the questions, but I'm just going to double check. A lot of people are asking sort of similar ones, so I think I've covered pretty much everything. So I think I'm going to wrap that up here. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. As I said, if you have got a specific question that you wanted to ask me offline, please do that via LinkedIn or via my email, which is louise.taylor@em.com. Again, really sorry that Neve could not be on here to share her experience, but I'm sure that we'll have her on another one in the future, absolutely. But thank you so much, everyone. I hope you have a fantastic evening and best of luck if you do decide to apply for Enterprise Mobility. Really hope to see you within our rental branches in the very near future. Thanks, everyone. Have a great evening. Bye now.